Let's talk some Miami Hurricane recruiting. There was a couple of major flip targets in Coral Gables for this one against FAMU. On3's number one ranked corner, DJ Pickett, after being in the swamp in week 1, he's in Coral Gables watching Miami in week 2. Also, number 4 ranked linebacker, TJ Alford. He's committed to Ohio State. So like DJ Pickett, they're both flip targets. Steve, how are we feeling about these Miami Hurricanes? I feel like we've been talking about them all week. And the bit of news that we had was DJ Pickett. Yeah, he was going to make a return trip to Miami, but it was supposed to be for the FSU game in about 6 weeks. But DJ Pickett shows up today. What does it mean?
Well, we hinted on Whip Around, which hit like and subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel, so you know when the next episode of Wiltfong Whip Around is coming out, that we thought he would take more visits and one could come sooner before the Florida State game. That's because we knew that DJ Pickett was going to be back in Coral Gables with his mom this weekend to check things out. His cousin, Cannon Pickett, 2026 offensive lineman, as well. His other cousin, freshman Booker Pickett Jr., is a true freshman at Miami. This one, Dennis Smith is Miami's general manager, Josh, and he tweeted this morning or last night that recruiting is always a marathon. Miami knows that as much as any program. I don't think anything is imminent with DJ Pickett right now, but I will say that Miami is running the race. I think they're moving their way up in the pack here. LSU's out in front. He's going to visit the Tigers 3 times this fall, but Miami's going to keep running. Mario Cristobal is leading the charge on the trail. They're playing at a high level. The Pickett family is full of Miami fans. He loves LSU. He's got a great relationship with Corey Raymond. But Miami's running the race. They're playing well. Sounded like he had another awesome experience at Miami. He's going to come back with his dad for the Florida State game later in the season. Maybe there's some other games in the works. He's going to be at LSU 3 times. Now, I don't have another Miami visit on my radar for Pickett. I knew he was going to be there this weekend when I was hinting at another potential visit. I don't have a third visit scheduled for him, but I just know that Miami is pushing. Eventually, coaches are going to make in-home visits. I think Mario Cristobal will break bread with the Picketts down the road on an in-home. They're in this marathon, and LSU is the leader, and Miami's got to go up the hill, but they're trying to climb, and we'll see what happens if they keep playing well. They're going to be favored in every one of these games that they play the rest of the season going into the college football playoff. And so they keep playing well. It'll be interesting to see how things shake out.
Yeah, it absolutely will. Now, one tradition, let's just call it a tradition, that Mario Cristobal has started at Miami is flipping a recruit from Ohio State late in the cycle. We've seen a couple with Justin Scott. We saw Mark Fletcher. We've seen a couple. And now TJ Alford, he shows up. He's an Ohio State linebacker commitment. He's from the state of Florida. Hasn't said a whole lot about his commitment status, but this weekend he shows up at Miami. What do you make of it?
Well, my eyebrows are raised. I mean, they flipped Jordan Lyle, running back from Ohio State last cycle. There's a lot of buzz around Coral Gables that Jordan Lyle is the next special running back. They beat Ohio State for Marquise Lightfoot, a 5-star edge rusher in last year's class who was silently committed to Ohio State at one point. And I talked to TJ Alford as he was walking into Coral Gables today, and he said Miami's definitely on the come up, called them the home state team. Miami's in the market for another running back, and they got their eye on Tarvos TJ Alford.
All right. Now, also, linebacker Kellen Wy was there. He's from Armwood High School. He's been one that Miami's been turning the heat up on a little bit. Do you think Kellen Wy is a guy that they could close on soon? What are you hearing?
I don't know soon, but I think that I think that they're certainly the front runner for him. And this Miami class is going to finish third straight top 10, most likely, potentially top 5. And you have your blue chippers that they're chasing, the Hilton Stubbs of the world, who was on campus today. He told me that he thought all these uncommitted guys and committed guys elsewhere had a great time. So you got your national recruits, you got your local national recruits, guys like Chris Ewald and Bryce Fitzgerald. But then they got the guys that are from in-state that are their evaluations that they love. Guys like Micah Newton and Dante Simpson are in-state defensive linemen that they flipped earlier in August from other programs, NC State. That's how they view this young man. I mean, he is a guy that they love for his size and length and the way he continues to develop. And these are guys that'll be passionate about playing for the U. That's another thing that they covet with these young men here, and he certainly fits that bill.
All right, Steve. What about more of a national target? You know, if Miami continues to keep rolling the way they are, what about a guy like a 5-star defensive lineman, Elijah Griffin?
Well, we talked about a season. If Miami can have a 11 or 12 win season, what could that do for them on the trail? Why would they be so much fun to follow? Elijah Griffin's a name that we were one of the first to mention. Now, we like Georgia there. Georgia's the on-3 RPM favorite, but Chad Simmons was at Elijah Griffin's game over the weekend and reports that Elijah Griffin could be back at Miami this coming weekend. And if I'm Georgia, makes me a little nervous because Miami is a program that can certainly close. Now, he's going to take his official visit to Georgia for the Mississippi State game in October. That's around his birthday weekend. I'd been hearing that visit was in the works for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a commitment type official visit on the books, but Miami getting them back again next weekend, we'll see if that can shake some things up for Elijah Griffin. He's got some family in the area, I believe, and they always have a fabulous time down there.
Yeah, he's one just to keep an eye on as this thing keeps rolling. Miami fans, talk to me and Steve. Let us know how we feeling about these flip picks. How do you feel about DJ Pickett? If it were up to you and you had a prediction on the RPM, would you put a flip pick in for DJ Pickett?
Let's not close this Miami segment because we didn't even get a chance to talk about Dallas Wilson and Joshua Moore. Dallas Wilson rocking Miami gloves all over social media Friday night at his game, Oregon commit. I thought there was a chance that maybe he visited this weekend. Obviously, that did not happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if he popped up at Miami at some point. There was some talk he was going to visit Florida last weekend as well. Did not make that visit, but those in-state programs are going to keep pushing pedal to the metal. And then Joshua Moore, DJ Lagway going out there and having a freshman record performance for the Gators tonight was big. His dad, when I talked to his dad earlier this week, they went to the Florida-Miami game on Saturday. Then he visited Miami on Monday. But he said his son was still locked in with Florida because they have the quarterback, they have the great academics, and they love Billy Napier. But I still get the sense, talking to a lot of people with knowledge of that recruitment, that Miami's weighing that one as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Joshua Moore as these seasons play out. But DJ Lagway going out there and showing that he truly is the quarterback of the future on the field was awesome for Florida. But Miami going to keep battling, certainly saying, hey, we're in the present. We're competing for championships right now. They're 2-0. They got to keep it rolling. But there's that kind of buzz around the Hurricanes right now.
Yeah, kind of crazy. We'll see what happens there. Steve, when it comes to Miami, do you get a feeling that they are really gearing up for this FSU game? I mean, already hearing DJ Pickett, but the way that they capitalized on beating UF, I mean, are they really gunning to get a huge group in there for that FSU game at home?
If they had 0 wins, it would be a huge group coming in. I mean, these games, no matter the year, you covered Florida State for a long time. You've been in that state forever. Even when those teams stink, the recruit sections for those games are always rocking.
Yeah, but Mario knows that he might be able to drop the hammer on both of his rivals in one year, and that goes a long way when you do it in front of recruits.
I think that the sense I get talking to people around Miami is that they felt like they had a good football team coming into the season. And they're like, when we do what we're supposed to do, we're going to come back around on some of these recruitments that we lost. They're still swinging at Vernell Brown III too, for what it's worth. Florida legacy. But now that they have come out and smashed Florida and then got a good win tonight, I think the sentiment is, let's not take anything for granted now. Yeah. The coach speak is real, like week to week, like there cannot be any letdowns. We are in such a spot right now where we could have so much momentum. We don't need anything slowing that down. On the flip side, that Florida State game, Florida State coming into Coral Gables, that's going to be a game where Florida State looks at it and says, we can flip this season around. We can turn our season around with this game. All our goals that we had in the preseason are still attainable. And it starts right now with going into Miami and getting a big win. So look, Florida, they lose the opener to Miami, but that was a Florida team that was coming in with a lot of excitement around their season. We'll see if Miami took their soul. We'll see. They bounce back and beat Stanford. Florida State's going to come into that game like it's a season opener again, a reboot, a restart. So it's going to be a tough game for them. But if they win it and go 2-0 against Florida and Florida State this year, Miami, they're a program that's on the track to the college football playoff. We're only 2 weeks into the season, but again, I think we agree that they would be the favorite against every team they play. Do you
now? Sure looks that way.
Sure. So, but they got to keep it rolling.
Yeah, they do. So Miami fans, talk to us. If this thing keeps rolling, where are the Canes going to finish? Let us know. Comment section below.